And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning into a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this evening. We have a magnificent guest with us tonight, one who is going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than the frontline soldier, activist, organizer, family man, and so much more, but a believer. And that is our brother Hip Hop from Hip Hop Detoxx, brother Enoch Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Wa alaikum salam. How we doing, my brother?
We're doing fine by the grace of Allah, and we are excited and honored to have you back. Once again, you have a built-in audience with the People's Podcast because people love your spirit, your energy, and we love your recalling of stories. So we wanted to get live recaps from two major events that happened. We want to start with your event that was the culmination of 30 years of the Million Man March, 30th anniversary. We've seen clips from Naperville to Bellwood, from State Street to Cottage Grove. Everybody's just talking about it, all over Chicago. What inspired you to make you want to do your event to culminate 30 years of since the Million Man March?
Well, let me start off in the spirit of the Million Man March, which our brother, Reverend Dr. Benjamin Chavis Muhammad, accurately said is the spirit of Allah. So I want to start off by saying, in the name of the all-wise, true and living God, the beneficent, the most merciful, praise belongs to Almighty God Allah, the Lord of the worlds. And I bear witness that regardless to land, label, or language, there's one source, one creator, one master architect, one divine supreme being. And we are so thankful for that one who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, from all holy praise is due forever. And I bear witness that Allah came in the person of Master Fard Muhammad, as I bear witness that he raised up the messenger Messiah, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. And I further bear witness in that present day comforter, that present day one that was shaped by both hands of Allah.
Yes, sir.
And I'm so thankful to be alive and to be able to be manifested through my parents and my grandparents and my ancestors, and to be part of those who are present on this planet today, the 8 billion inhabitants that's on the planet today, where we have journeyed through the life and times of our honorable brother, Minister Louis Farrakhan Muhammad. So I greet everybody who is watching this or who will watch this with the greeting words of peace. Some of us say it in Arabic language of Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir.
If you speak Spanish, some of us say La Paz esté contigo. If you don't speak Arabic, if you don't speak Spanish, in English, we just say peace be unto you. And of course, in the streets, we might just bow our head and say, what up, though? But whichever
Yes,
way
sir.
we do it,
Yes, sir.
not So, brother, your first question is what made me not only start off in that way, because that was my thought to do that, but to start off in that spirit and that energy and in that manner, because what we just experienced, 30 years ago, and a lot of us who were present at that time, if you were 12, 14, 18, 25, 35, 45, you were alive during that time period in 1995, you know that we were dealing with a variety of issues as a people and as a world, whether you're talking about the O.J. Simpson trial, whether you're talking about the riots that took place in 92, after the verdict, whether you're talking about just all the variety of things that were going on us killing us, the different shootouts between the Bloods and the Crips, the GDs and the Vice Lords. I mean, all kinds of things that were going on that were not good. The things that we could say, yeah, that was a problem back then. And to know that we had, some say nearly, some say over 2 million Black men to be in one place at one time, not one crime, not one violation, not one murder, one stabbing, one robbery. There was no crime in Washington, D.C. that whole day. There was nothing moving but that spirit and that energy, because there was an overwhelming miracle that met all of our insecurities, all of our imperfections, all of our failings, all the things that we don't like about ourselves met a miracle that day. And so that's what inspired 38 months ago, our brother, the math doctor.
Yes, sir.
Shaheed Muhammad. For years, when he was doing the Boys to Men conference at the National Center here in Chicago, he would always invite myself and Hip Hop Detoxx to come and present, perform, do workshops. We would bring youth. And so 3+ years ago, our brother was having challenges trying to implement the Boys to Men's conference. And so the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan has always taught us that you should want for your brother as you want for yourself. The Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us that. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught the people that. Jesus taught that. So when my brother was having those challenges, we were trying to work together to see how we could make it happen. And with my brother living so far off, because my brother and his beautiful wife, they, beautiful people, and they, have a farm, and, they're doing what we all need to do, get to the land, And so he was going through just transitions, doing what he is doing, and he wasn't able to actualize the conference as he once was, which we participated in, because we participated for 6 years with the Steve Harvey mentoring camp before it became the Steve and Marjorie Harvey Foundation. And when Steve Harvey asked me to come every year to his camp, and then we became the post program for the Steve Harvey camp here in Chicago, we knew that after working with Steve Harvey, that how could we not work with our brother, the math doctor?
Yes, sir.
If we really do believe in not just catering to the big shots, but we work with our people who are putting the work in, if we really do believe that we should put our action on the line and live the life. We can't say love and we don't put our life into it. So after we weren't able to continue doing it at the National Center, and I'm saying we, because our brother math doctor, he was trying to do that, we were trying to figure out a way of doing it in other locations. And so it wound up being where he couldn't focus on that because he had to make a shift. So we picked up where he left off at, and we had the first annual Males to Men Empowerment Seminar in 2023. And with the help of our sister, Nala Muhammad, who is the proprietor of Let's Eat to Live restaurant, 621 East 67th Street here in the city of Chicago, 67th and Champlain, for those who know, right around the corner from the infamous O Block, which
yes, sir.
I grew up with, knowing as Parkway Gardens, because I went to the elementary school right there.
Okay.
So her and our brother Akbar Muhammad, they allowed for us and Dr. Shabazz, who was over there at the Salon Wellness Community Center, they allowed for us to have the first seminar in the back area where we put up tents, and we had 114 youth from various schools, and we had probably close to 50, 60 men from churches, lodges, the mosques, different organizations. We came together and we did the first one, 114 youth. And I'm not making that up. It was 114 youth. And I just say all praise is due to Almighty God Allah that it came out like that. But it was a beautiful experience. Our brother Rashad from the E team, he took lead and helped us in setting the spirit and the tone, because we do the Hip Hop Detoxx handshake with all the young brothers from the time they got off the school buses to the time they got to the tent. Our goal was to recreate the spirit of the Million Man March amongst young people who weren't even alive at the time. They weren't even a thought in their parents' eyes, in their parents' hearts. So in 2023, the goal was, we know that for the past 20 years, Brother Joshua, I'm not exaggerating, no hyperbole, not putting no yeast in it. Every school, college, university, high school, group home, everywhere we went, 99% of the people that we met did not know anything about the Million Man March. We would always get maybe one, maybe a staff member, maybe an instructor knew about the Million Man March. Majority had never heard of it. And the picture that you all see behind me, when we would show that picture, they would automatically think that that was from 1963. And it was only about maybe 5 or 10% that knew that. Most people didn't even know. Most of the young college students, high school students, they were not familiar with this. So it was to educate, to inform, to inspire. Scriptures say, how will they know unless they have a teacher?
Yes, sir.
How will they have a teacher unless that teacher is sent?
Yes, sir.
Hip Hop Detoxx didn't come. Hip Hop Detoxx was sent. A lot of you all who watching this, y'all don't understand. The People's Podcast didn't come. The People's Podcast was sent. Y'all gonna have to recognize today. Y'all might not want to watch this no more. This might not be the video you want to watch, because Allah is in control, who appeared in the person of Master Fard Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
That's who's in control of this interview. This is going to be an inner view. Not an interview. This is going to be an inner view.
Yes, sir.
So that is what inspired it, brother. I didn't want that glance of heaven. I didn't want that miracle to be written out of history, because in 1995, I was a student down in Carbondale. I wasn't even officially on campus at Southern Illinois University. I was at a junior college called John A. Logan, but I was blessed to start an organization called the Black Think Tank. And I worked with several other brothers. Shout out to Brother Anthony Hardy and Andre Lewis and Paula, Sister Paula, and a whole host of others, Tawana, Sister Nicole. We had a lot of students who came together after we started the Black Think Tank, and we had fraternity members, sorority members, Masons. We had brothers from the Vice Lord. We had all kinds of people that was part of the Black Think Tank, and we came together and worked together to educate, inform, inspire, motivate college students on campus, but also the city of Carbondale. And that evolved into other things right before the Million Man March, but we worked to raise up thousands of dollars to go to the Million Man March. And as we did that, all praise is due to Allah, as we did that, that momentum made the alphas lift their heads up and see what we were doing. And they allowed us to speak at the Miss Ebony's pageant and raise money at the Miss Ebony's pageant. Beautiful. All the different fraternities that was doing their keg parties, and Phi Beta Sigma, they was having their smoke outs. I'm blowing everybody's high. I'm going up in there blowing their high. You know what I'm saying? We raising money for a purpose much bigger than what y'all talking about. So I got a spoken word piece called the Everlasting Blunt. I'm talking about that blunt that'll reverse the effects of having your children come out like runts. So I'm over here freestyling, but I'm letting them know that we need your support. We need your help. And so we were able to unify in action to get the support of everybody to go. And praise be to Allah, we were fighting against all the odds that many people around the country was fighting. We had a sundown town that's still there. That's still actively known as ANNA, which stands for Ain't No Niggas Allowed. And those kind of persons were communicating, talking about the Million Nigger March. and how if they saw people going to that march, they was going to be shooting up the buses. So there was death threats that was coming. You had people on campus that were from the FBI. They had the young Republicans and all those who were speaking against student activity fees at that time being rolled into a march, participation with a march led by the notorious anti-Semitic Louis Farrakhan. So you had all these things going on, but we refused to fall for the hype. We didn't believe the hype. And I say all of this just to say that what inspired 30 years later was the fact that it wasn't in vain. What we did was stand for a principle and a purpose that was bigger than ourselves. With all the different things that we have that divide us, we need atonement. We need reconciliation. We need deliberative dialogue. We need Dianetics. We need self-improvement. We need supreme wisdom. We need the proper way of handling people. We need everything, including the kitchen sink, the bathroom sink.
Yes, sir.
Able to fix a poisonous and rusty locked mind that is really not functioning as a true mind, because when you have a mind, that means that you have that which is functioning based upon truth, because the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad stated that you can't have a functional mind unless it's rooted in truth, because the brain was created to think rightly. So anytime you have lies, half-truths, and myths that enter into what we call mind, then you don't have a mind anymore. You're functioning with fantasy now. You're functioning with illusions. So it's kind of like a train track. When you go, if you think about a train track and you get those train track ties, well, imagine a train track and you got truth upon truth, and the train is thought. Well, when you go down that train track, the train can only function on a track that allows for it to ride on it. But as soon as you put a lie into it, the train jumped the track. And so now you don't have thoughts that's based upon truth. Now you get imagination and illusions and fantasy that you're living upon, because you don't have a functioning mind. So the Million Man March and the Holy Day of Atonement was the act of us coming back to our God, regardless of land, label, or language. No gang banging. Go back to your source. Go back to the Creator, so then we can do what that Second Chronicles scripture calls for us.
Yes, sir.
We got to go back to it, because it's really a spiritually scientific formula that's really mathematical in nature.
That's right.
It's not just spiritual, it's not just religion. And a lot of times we get caught up in dogma so much that we're not looking at the practicality of it and the mathematics of it. If you want healing, then you got to recognize your function.
Yes, sir.
If you don't recognize your function, because when you talk about, if my people who are called by my name, name and appellation is really denoting your function. So if your function is you are a part of a group of people that are typed as the people of God, we are the people of God. Let's cut to the chase. We the people of God. Nobody fit the description more than us. A hard-hearted, stiff-necked, rebellious people who are blind, deaf, and dumb, robbed of their name, language, culture, religion, and God. Nobody fit that description more than us.
That's right.
Nobody fit that. A people who would be in a land not theirs for 400 years.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nobody fit that. A people who the women would be spared, but the men would be killed. So kill all the male babies, spare the female.
That's what it says.
That don't fit nobody else but us. So I say all this just to say that all of that is wrapped up in what inspired 38 months ago for us to be on this journey, with the thought already in mind that when we approach the 30-year anniversary of the Million Man March, we have to have the type of velocity and momentum to carry us into the next 30 years, because 30 years went by so fast. It was like a blink of an eye. I still can't believe 30 years went by that fast, you know. And when I think about all of the history, Brother Joshua, that the regular brother and sister don't know, because if you can take and think about a domino effect, think about a domino set, and you stand all those dominoes up. It could be 50, 30, 40 in a set. If we said 30 years or 30 dominoes, but the key domino is the Million Man March, then that means that if you never allowed that domino to fall, so affected by the fall of that domino, then that means the Million Man March and its execution, that affected the last 30 years. But if you freeze it so that the people don't know, not only that the Million Man March happened, they don't know that the World Day of Atonement happened the following year, right in front of the United Nations building when our sister Winnie Mandela was there. They don't know that they don't know there was something called the National Political Convention of the Oppressed that took place in 19 which we attended. They don't know that there was something called the Million Women's March that took place in 1997 in Philadelphia when our mother, Khadija Farrakhan, was there. Our sister, Ava Muhammad, may Allah be pleased with her, she was there, and a whole host of other women. And just to give you a heads up, my brother, I got to connect you with the sister, the Empress, who is the convener of the Million Women's March, because she asked me to be part of her cabinet to help organize the 30-year anniversary of the Million Women's March in Philadelphia. So I got to make sure you communicate with her, you interview her, because they are already planning, already working, and I am in total support of the 30-year anniversary of the Million Women's March. But that means that they don't know any of this, Brother Josh. They don't know about the Million Family March, the Million More movement. So what that means is that in recent times, we have had all those who run institutions, they have been successful in erasing the miracle that took place on October 16th, 1995. They have been able to make it unknown to the masses of our people. And so it's our job to make it known.
And Brother Enoch, you have done very well and superb job doing so. We want to make sure we salute you, your family, your faculty, your staff, everybody who always shows love from Hip Hop Detoxx. We continue to show our support to you all as well. Knowledge sends the greetings. 1WG3, thank you very much. Walaikum salam, Sister Miriam. Our brother Houston MKS, thank you very much. Brother Boogaloo. Sister Naima says Walaikum salam. Brother Gregory says Teach Muhammad. Marat Mahdi, talk that talk twin. Brother DJ G Smooth. Wait, assalamu alaikum salam, sir. Issa Peak Truth. Walaikum salam. Issa Peak. Issa Speak. I Speak Truth TV 80. Thank you for that long name. I Speak Truth. Brother Knowledge, Walaikum salam. We see you, sir. Thank you for everybody who's saying peace. Brother Michael Muhammad, all praises due to Allah for endurance. Yes, sir. I wanted to ask you, go back to that. We got so many talking points, but I wanted to first of all say we want to acknowledge our brother, may Allah be pleased, with the freedom fighter, soldier, and fellow believer, none other than Imam Jamil Al-Amin. So we want to take that moment and acknowledge him. I'll post something today. I was looking at many of his speeches on YouTube just to, reconnect to his spirit and his energy. And, the struggle is still, I'm listening to a speech that he did in 1998 with Kwame Ture on C-SPAN with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, Mayor Marion Barry. And I'm like, this in 2025, they're saying the same thing. So we got to keep the struggle going, keep the fight going. So we thank you, Brother Enoch, for doing so. I wanted to ask you, the specific people that you chose with organizing the event that you did. I saw, of course, our brother Lemuel, people that you have from the task force, people from the E-team, the soldiers, all around, but you organized so many different groups. How important is unity to your movement, to our movement, so that we can connect in different cities to look past ideology or dogmatic approaches to things. How you were successful. How can we do better with uniting in our cities?
Well, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate all those who are watching, and I pray that you all share this interview with a minimum of 40 people, because that question you asked, Brother Joshua, the word how, when you define how, is indicative of process, step by step, so that you can replicate, you can duplicate what's being asked, so that way you can do it where you are. And the reality is that we are embracing the principle inherent in the word Sankofa. See, it's not just regular strategic operational unity. We got to go back and get it.
Yes, sir.
Because we are links on a chain that's an eternal chain. It's a divine line. So in the scriptures, it tells us that there's nothing new under the sun.
That's right.
So we can have our individual fingerprint and put our own little, personality with it. However, we are links on the chain. And our brother, may the Most High be pleased with Brother Kwame Ture. He spoke over and over again and talked about unity and us unifying and being in harmony with the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad in terms of our unity, and how that would solve 95% of all of our problems.
That's right.
It is not a lie. It is absolute truth. Because when you recognize the greatness in your brother, it allows for you to be humble enough to say to yourself, man, if I see any good in myself, I got to recognize that there's good and greatness in my brother and my sister, because it all comes from Allah.
That's right.
So when you name those names, the brothers and sisters that participated, it's the greatness. One of the things I saw when I first started studying the teachings, I remember in 1990, when my sister's father blessed me with Message to the Black Man, and that was the first teaching that I got my hands on that I couldn't put down, and I was totally doing a whole bunch of research and reading until I got tapes in my hand. And one of the first tapes that I saw that illustrated what I was reading in Message to the Black Man was a lecture. It wasn't a lecture, it was a videotape from the final call called Farrakhan in Review. And that Farrakhan in Review showed them drilling, they had Brother Mustafa there drilling.
Yes, sir.
And it showed them in the early 80s, but it showed all of the brothers and sisters who were with the minister before there was a final call administration building, before there was a rededication of the National Center for the Re-Education, Retraining of the Black Man and Woman. It showed, especially when the final call administration building was gotten, you saw the Heisel B. Taylors, the Kwame Tures, you saw the Bishop Tutus, you saw the Menjis, and you saw the Dr. Thompsons, and you saw all these brothers and sisters coming together, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. You saw all of our people coming together from every type of ideology and philosophy. You even saw people doing what has Islam done for me?
Yes, sir.
Do you know how inspiring that is to listen to those who have said, I am going to write my letter, I'm going to take this pledge, and I'm going to take up helping a man who has received the hardest job that any man in the annals of history has ever taken upon himself, which is to wake up the dead?
Yes, sir.
And I saw that video, and it just made me feel so good, seeing that you got Black folks who really are striving to work with other Black people, and regardless of what we don't agree upon, they focus on what they did agree upon. Because a Negro mind will focus on the 1 out of 99 things that you don't agree upon, and you use that as the reason not to work together, not embracing the fact that you agree on 99 other things. But that's a Negro mind. But then we'll go patronize the business of somebody who will call you a nigger to your face, and they only agree with you paying them money for
Yes,
their
sir.
merchandise and for their businesses, and they disagree with you on 99 of the things that they can disagree with you on.
Facts.
That means that we are still in a backwards position. We're still possessed with the qualities that the Willie Lynch letter described, and we still have to get rid of these rusty and poisonous ideologies and philosophies and that have hardened into attitudes and beliefs that we have about one another, because all of it is indicative of how we feel about ourselves and how hypercritical we are about self. And until we deal with that self-poisoning, that self-hatred, that self-refueling, self-generating, until that gets interrupted, because we not only have to hurl truth at falsehood till we knock out its brains, but we're going to have to digest those things that deal with what some call the basic, that basic, which, you know, the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad spoke about the Leviathan in the scriptures. The minister dealt with the metaphysical, and Sister Avery dealt with the metaphysical aspect.
Yes, sir.
As those winds whip up internally and you get these life circumstances that bring your ugliness out, you got to get to the root of that so you can deal with the basic of it. You know what I mean? So whether you want to call it an engram, whether you want to call it a demon, whatever the hell you want to call it, we got to deal with that nigga within. Because if we can deal with that nigga within, we'll be able to recognize, no, that's just that dumb devil. We've been bitten by a wise Satan, and we got to deal with that dumb devil so then we can allow the wise God to take root. And that's why when we're taught, man, you got to nurse on your Quran.
Yes, right.
You got to feed on those study guides. You have to seek refuge in Allah from your anxiety and grief, your cowardice and niggardliness. You got to be willing to say that a minimum of 7 times a day to get you in the right spirit so you can have the right attitude to redirect that energy. Because if we don't do that, then everything we do, we'll wind up destroying it. And that's why we're not able to have the unity that we need, because we don't go back and remember the words of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad or Kwame Ture or Nkrumah, Kwame Nkrumah, or whoever it is that we say we look up to. We don't go back and look at those words, examine them, so then we can change up our perception of thought. So then we can deal with ourselves first in a different way, and then deal with your brother and sister in a different way, because all of us are dealing with the sicknesses from us being in a poison environment called the United States of America.
Teacher Bro Enoch, all praises to Allah. Thank you to everyone who's showing love. Sister Miriam says a young brother Joshua is featured on Farrakhan Review as an NUI student. Yes, I hope it's on YouTube so people can go see the clip. Shaka Shakur, thank you for showing love from Birmingham. Please let us know which city, state, country you all are watching from in the comments. We have a brief 60-second commercial break for every sponsor of the People's Podcast. We are grateful for every like, share, and subscription. Thank you to every anonymous Cash App. Thank you to our esteemed guests, and thank you for every super chat. 1 second. This is great, and we have. Please let us know any questions or comments you have for our great guest, Brother Enoch. Premier Media Production. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out if you need any of that. Sister Naima, Stay On Point Dance Academy. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country. Sister Miriam, ABC I Love Me children's book and coloring book. My father's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ. My 2 books, Cleopatra, which is a children's book, and No Father, No Excuse, both of which are available on Amazon. Excellent. All right. Yes, sir. Okay, well, Brother Enoch, this is a perfect time for us to address the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, someone you have known for decades, and you got to see him, and we got to see him, but you got to see him in person, come out at his age, walk onto the stage, sit down, deliver a word. How important was that for you and others to see him still strong and still able to speak in 2025?
Brother, I was very humbled, watching our teacher come out, not only to be present. I'm going to share something with you all. On October 16th of 2025 at Chicago State University, we were blessed to bring 1,000 young people to the arena on their campus with hundreds of men. And there's a lot of videos that are out there that show some of the things that happened. We have a lot that we haven't shared yet. But the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan, he was told by our brother, as the minister called him, our Black Caucasian brother, Father Flager. He, Brother Father Flager has been supporting our efforts this year to do the commemoration of the Million Man March in our third annual Males to Men seminar. So he came after we did the seminar. We had a Hip Hop Detox Live benefit. And so Father Flager, Josh told me, he came to the back in the dressing room. He said, brother, he said, I was with the minister today for an hour. And no, he said, I spoke to the minister today for an hour. And he said, the minister told me, he said, I told the minister that I was coming to the Hip Hop Detox. And the minister said to me that he looks forward to speaking soon. He told me that night, and he smiled at me. And I'm like, okay. So I didn't know what that meant. So that was October 16th.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And then on October 17th, the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan's illustrious barber, Brother Arthur, the cut professor.
Shout out to the cut professor.
The cut professor, I spoke with him, and he told me, he said, brother, he said, I spoke with the minister, and he said, guess what was the first thing the minister asked when he got in the barbershop chair? I said, what? He said, the minister, he said, he sat down, he said, all right, brother, give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. He said, yes, sir. He said, tell me what happened at the Hip Hop Detox. And so he said, brother minister, it was wonderful. And let me show you the videos.
Yes, sir.
He showed me the videos. The minister saw the videos of the young brothers being embraced coming into the arena. Then he just basically, brother, I'm gonna tell you this. I'm sharing this with you first to let you know that as soon as the brother shared with me the words of the minister, which the words he said, and I want to make sure I say it in the right spirit and the right words that he said. He said, the minister said, and he said the minister had tears that was swelling up in his eyes as he was watching the videos. And he said that the minister said, he said, brother, that is how you spirit of the Million Man March. And he said, this is how you live beyond the grave. You have to duplicate yourself. And so hearing that from Brother Arthur, it was a reminder to me of why it was so important to keep going even at the worst of times during this journey, because it was extremely painful. It's painful to not get help as you think you should get help. It's painful to see people could be doing certain things, but they put their hands behind their back. They withhold their hands. They sit on their hands and they watch you struggling with a boulder while you're going up a mountain. Because the uphill road, the Quran says, to free a slave, and we're trying to free slaves, and you're just sitting there eating popcorn, watching the show, while you could be helping. And so I had to keep going. I had to keep going. And so when to come out there, it was just so humbling to see him, because I know he's been on this journey since 1955, and he has had to go through not only similar things, but more than what I went through,
yes,
and more than what we've gone through. And he's had, and it made me to just be thankful, because one brother, I'm gonna paraphrase the way he put it, but he said something about how the minister talked about this. Is not just the activity or the project that's important, but it's important how it affects the person that's engaging in such a project or activity.
Yes, sir.
Because it's not it's not what comes in, but it's what goes out. And it's how you respond to the adversity, how you respond to the pain, the hurt, the frustration, the disappointment. And I just thank Allah for his example, because I had to watch the Million Man March throughout this whole journey. I'm listening to the minister speak October 16th, 1995, to help keep my spirit up. I'm listening. One brother, he was like Brother Rhyme Fest, the Grammy Award winning.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Artist and writer of Jesus Walks to Kanye.
Yes, sir.
I came to Dr. Donda West's house to do an interview with Rhyme Fest, and Rhyme Fest was looking at me. He said, Brother Enoch, I've been seeing videos of you and you look pretty muscular and everything. And he said, brother, you look kind of thin. And so I didn't tell him at the time, but a few days ago, I talked to him. I said, brother, I even tell. I said, brother, I've been doing so much fasting and praying. I go 3 days fast and eat one day. I go 2 days and don't, and don't eat and eat the next day. And I'm eating every other day, because all I could do is pray and fast. Because, it takes money to make these things happen. It takes manpower, people power to make these things happen. And when you get people who are sitting on their hands and they're not helping you, then you got to call on Allah and pull on the universe to get the variety of things done, because we're at a critical time in our history where all of our lives are in more danger than we realize. But we don't want to scare the people to death. But hell, if what's happening at this period of time, if you don't see what's going on, then, it's like people on the Titanic. They're land play and they're sitting around having parties and drinking, and the damn Titanic is sinking. You get some people just like that. They're gonna party to death.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They're gonna enjoy themselves to death. And then you get those who understand that this thing is sinking, and we have to be able to pivot what we're doing and reorientate ourselves to start doing those things that will require a major sacrifice. And I knew that there would never again be a 30-year anniversary of the Million Man March. And when sociologists look at generations, they usually 25-year or 30-year, demarcation of history. So I'm looking at a whole 30 years that went by like the twinkling of an eye. I still can't believe 30 years went by this fast. But I am blessed to be with people who understand that when you recognize the cycles of history, all we're seeing today is Ronald Wilson Reagan 2.0. All we're seeing is a highly advancement of what transpired years ago. You just take Nixon, mix him up with Ronald Wilson Reagan, and you add a little bit more of hot sauce with it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
The internet with it, and voila, you get what we got today. And you could do the same thing for the state of our people. We have the greatest opportunity to make the greatest advancement in this time. And we also have the opportunity to miss it if we get stuck in a freeze or flight type of response. We have to be able to create right now. We can't get caught up in our emotions where we get stuck. And many of us are so stuck that all we keep doing is repeating the same thing over and over and over again. And unfortunately, it takes major crises to get us out of that. And I'm not immune to that, because in the scriptures, it tells us that Allah will try you severely, once a year. You're going to get tried severely. And there's no greater test than you being tried by the forces within yourself, the desires you have within yourself. That's a trial. Your wives and your children are a trial for you. So you get tried with the things that you love.
Yes, sir.
And so we are now all having to deal with ourselves and recognizing that if you don't get to your source and recognize, as we heard in the 90s, bow down, you hard-hearted nigga. Bow down to the mercy seat. I'll never forget that lecture.
Yes, sir.
But you got so many hard-hearted people because we hurt. And so we so hurt, we gonna kill ourselves. We gonna commit suicide, either the fast way or the slow way. Because we so hurt. They say hurt people hurt people. Well, the first person we hurting is the person in the mirror. Eat ourselves to death, drink ourselves to death, smoke ourselves to death, do all kind of reckless stuff because we so hurt, we don't see that what we're doing to ourselves to end our lives at a faster pace. And if we got children, we're helping them as well because they're watching us.
You teach me right here, like I always do to a lot, and people putting 100 emojis. Thank you, Rand Power. Thank you, I Speak Truth. Thank you, DJG Smooth. Thank you, Sister Miriam, Sister Naima, and everybody else who was watching. All right, man, this is powerful. We wanted to ask you, sir. It was trending all on social media. It was a teen shutdown downtown Chicago. It said 8 people were shot. I don't know the total of the fatalities, but there was some fatalities going on. These young people in Chicago. What can the fathers, start with the fathers, the grandparents, the mothers, the people who are crying out, what can they do in Chicago, but in Atlanta and all around the country?
Well, I told you all, this is not going to be a good interview. It's going to be a good interview, but it ain't going to be no good interview because I'm not sugarcoating nothing.
That's right.
I'm going to tell you something. This is a family show, so I'm going to say it in a good family way.
Yes, sir.
You know, you said fathers first, right?
Yes, sir.
If you want your children to go farther than you, I said to my son, who's 22 years of age, I said it to him a few days ago. I told him, he's going through his thing, trying to become an independent adult. And I told him, I said, I want you to know that I'm proud of you. And I'm proud of you for more than just one reason, but let me give you an example. I said, you're finishing up your education as far as your college bachelor's degree, and you're finishing it up at the age of 22. I didn't finish up my bachelor's till I was 29. And I was the first male in my family to graduate from college in my family, period. I don't have any other males that I can look at that went to college. And I'm not saying college is the end all be all. However, I wouldn't have even continued to go to college if it wasn't for the men in the Nation of Islam who told me that Farrakhan don't need no dummies. Go to school and learn something so you can bring it back to a nation. He didn't say build a mosque. He said build a nation. And the one thing that I want to tell fathers is that we have to find ways to help our children grow beyond us to be better than us at an earlier age.
Yes, sir.
Hopefully they can make certain mistakes sooner so then they can learn faster. So then different aspects of their lives, they'll have more time to grow and to mature. And I think that when you have 50, 60, 70-year-old men still trying to act like they're 25, 30 years of age, and I don't even want to put it on an age. If you think, because of your premium cigars and your premium alcohol and your ability to travel around the world to get as many holes that you can get, if you think that is what qualifies you for manhood, and when you die, your life and all that you gave to that was just vanity because not one of them damn hoes is helping your children, They ain't hoping to produce no damn business, no damn industry to help our people. They ain't doing a damn thing. And the sad part about it is you got so many of us, again, I understand being in pain. I understand being frustrated. I understand, to the degree I understand, how we can misuse the drives that are in us and our appetites. And instead of us taking those drives and utilizing that energy to produce the factories and the farmland and to use it to execute those things that will produce life on a higher level, we'll misappropriate that energy to our sex drive, or we'll use it, and we need to go ahead and alter our state of existence through the alcohol, through the weed or whatever, because we don't like the state of existence that we're in right now, so we want to be in an altered state. But sometimes when you don't recognize that economy affects psychology and psychology affects economy, and we are taking all of our currency and we're propelling the same world that has destroyed us and our forefathers. And then we wonder why we don't have the things that we need to have a functional community. And when people talk to us about, well, you should do this for your community or your village, well, the reality is that the village has been bombed. So we're not dealing with a functional village or a functional community. We're dealing with a damn trauma center, and we need to set up a triage where we can understand where to start at. Because if we don't stop the bleed and look at what areas that we're dealing with that has the most blood skeeting out, the most life is being lost in the body that we call Black folk. We're dealing with corpses. We're dealing with people who are not functioning as a people. Divided, everybody on their own agenda, and then you wonder why, when the big bad wolf come, you can't save your babies, because your babies are caught up in a world that was designed to kill them, and they don't understand that we're at a time where our rise is their fall. Our rise, people want to say kumbaya, can't we all get along? Can't we all rise together? How are you going to rise together if it's your job to stop, but somebody else is investing trillions of dollars in the school to prison pipeline? They want a return on their investment. So when they see that you are effective in eliminating the school to prison pipeline, if they fund you, they will defund you. If they can block you, they will block you. If they can marginalize you, they will marginalize you, because they do not want to lose their money and their power, because they make industry out of our misery. But there's so many of us that don't understand that, and we wonder, well, why we don't have this? Why we don't have that? Because we're in a state of war, and you don't want to deal with the warfare aspect of it, because you want kumbaya. You want everything to be convenient in a world that is diametrically opposed to you, your children, and your children's children. And so when you think about what happened in the city of Chicago, the whole world is talking about the shooting that took place. Every podcast is talking about what happened. There's supposed to be a Christmas tree lighting, but there was a teen trend takeover that was advertised. The police knew about it. Many parents didn't know about it. I didn't know about it until the last minute, and it was only because if I make phone calls to people who are on the streets and they're doing, shout out to my brother Mark Quinn with the Watch Guard. There's different groups that are out there, and they're regulating, trying to make sure that we as a people don't kill ourselves. Well, when the word gets put out that there's going to be some type of teen activity and there's no adult supervision at all, when I was a teenager, what did we do? We experimented with everything. People have forgotten what the hell they was doing when they was a teenager. If there would have been YouTube or the internet when I was in high school, man, we would have had so much bogus stuff on there. It would be ridiculous, the type of stuff that, when you talk about debauchery, I did not know I didn't know the word debauchery did not exist in my vocabulary when I was in high school. But was I acquainted with the activities underneath debauchery? I didn't call it debauchery. I just called it, we kicking it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We just having a good time. And so they just call it, hey, we just getting lit. We having fun. But having fun is the experimentation of the sex drive. It's the experimentation with alcohol, with drugs. It's doing those things that we call fun that could be reckless. Yeah, it was some out there that was dancing. They having dance battles. Yeah, it was some out there that was trying to get girls. That's what they was there for, girls. And girls, they dressed up, got the makeup on, trying to attract guys. Yeah, you had that happening. But of course, you also had those who had those what they call Bushisti mask on.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They had the switches. You get what I'm saying? They was coming to rob people. They was taking that coat, people's coat. They beating people up for their damn coat. All the trendy coats that they had on. People was getting beat up and jumped for those. See, the reality is that just as it was in the 80s and 90s when they used to have those commercials, 10 p.m., do you know where your children are?
Yeah, okay.
Today, we need it more than ever now because unfortunately, many of us, we don't monitor our children. I got to give a shout out to Sister Keisha because my wife tried to make sure that she knows where our daughter is going, who our daughter is with, who, what, when, where, why, and how. Because if my daughter would have got shot, would I be on this damn podcast right now? Probably not. Mm-hmm. If my daughter would have been part of a shooting and I had to be at the hospital and she either dead or she paralyzed because of some stupid person shooting down there, I wouldn't be on this podcast right now. I would be hurt. I would be crushed. I would be calling on Allah to help me because I'm ready to kill some people. Because the reality is that what was happening in the 80s when there was 800, 900 murders in the city of Chicago, that stuff is still happening to this very day. That energy is still here. And guess what, everybody? The only time we saw a decline in that kind of energy, it happened after the Million Man March. When people were talking against the Million Man March, talking about it was a love fest, that love fest produced the sharpest decline according to FBI. Don't talk about what I'm saying is not true. You go look at, if they lying, they lying. According to the FBI statistics, look at the murder rate since they started keeping track of murders in the United States, and look how from 1960s going into the highest point in 1974 in the city of Chicago, there was 970 murders in the city of Chicago. It wasn't no internet. It wasn't no drill. It wasn't no TikTok or Instagram back then. It was 970 murders in the city of Chicago. When you get to 1993, 94, there was 940 murders in the city of Chicago. By the time you get to the Million Man March, after that, in 1996, you start seeing a sharp decline, not only in Chicago, but you saw it in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, New Orleans, Louisiana, Baltimore, Maryland, Chocolate City, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, California. You started seeing all over the country a dip in homicides and murder, in the murder rate of Black people. And guess what? It wasn't for 1 year that dip happened, 10, 15 years. You didn't see it start climbing back up until I think it was 2013, 2014, you started seeing a rise in the murder rate. But it took a sharp decline due to that miracle that happened in 1995 on a Monday. We didn't ask for it. We took that day and made that a holy day of atonement. And guess what? We're going to take it again because the energy of that day was no school, no work, no play. We got to get our families back. We got to get our people back in order. And guess what, y'all? 30 years later, we need that more than ever because we are in disarray spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically as a people. Our houses or homes are in disarray. Our businesses are in disarray. Our organizations are in disarray. And the villages that have been bombed are in disarray. So we have a mighty work to do. We got to get on our Jonah, y'all. We can't keep on at the bottom of the damn Titanic going to sleep, kicking and chilling. Ain't no more time for next flips and chill. It's time to get up, get out, and get something. Goody Mob style. Goody Mob style.
Yes, sir. We can't spend all our time trying to get high. For sure, for sure. Yes, sir. People are showing love all around the world. Thank you, William Strong. Thank you, Brother William Strong, for your positive feedback. Brother Ian Muhammad, DJ G Smooth, and people are showing love. This live, loving, stay happy, man. His brother's preaching. Excellent. Well, Brother Enoch, do you have time for a few questions? I know you said you had to go earlier. Are you straight?
Go right ahead, but I'm yours.
Yes, sir. Also, another incident in Chicago brought the whole world organized, but I saw the community respond. The mother, sickle cell, gets attacked by the students at the school. The whole community goes out to respond. Is that a good sign that the community responded, or is it too late? What are your thoughts on that situation?
Well, it's a good sign, and I want to go back to that last question just to say this to you as well, because it connects with that. If we look at the word parent, in the word parent, you get PAR, par. And a lot of times we use that word, in different ways. Sometimes it's a slang, but you probably heard the phrase, are you up to par
Yes,
to do
sir.
such and such, right?
Yes,
are you
sir.
up to par? And the greatest parent we have is the Most High God. There is no child without mama and daddy. And there is no mama and daddy without grandma and grandpa. And if you go back to your ancestors, there's no us without the Most High God. So if you don't want to be in accord with the Most High God, then you're not going to have peace. You're not going to have order. You're not going to have justice. You're not going to have all these things happening. You're not going to have any of that because you're not even striving to be in accord with the Most High God. Because when you want those things, you at least got to strive to know what God's will is. I mean, at the minimum. And see, I say that because whether you agree with what Jesus said or not, look in the Bible, in the book of Jeremiah, about those who go into a forest and they go get trees and deck silver and gold and all that kind of stuff. That is scriptural, but it's giving you a picture of the people that they call the Nicolaitans. I'm not going to give you all the history because you're going to have to research on your own. But I just want you to know that we're at a time we've been lied to for so long. We got to stop feeding these people's industry. They've been lying on Jesus for all this time. Jesus ain't never told us to go put a tree in our damn houses. Never told us that. But we don't even read the book. We don't even read the book. So you get people who might be upset with those predominantly women that came to that school because they was upset about how a mother was jumped on by those children. I'm with them women that came. I ain't upset with them at all. Some of them want to talk about, yeah, she a GD queen, talk about them using profanity. Hell yeah, you're going to have some people using profanity. They hurt because they seeing themselves being beat down by their own damn children. After you got to be worried about the police, worried about people who don't look like you jumping on you. You done survived all kind of hurt, harm, and danger coming from all kind of other enemies that don't look like you, that don't care about you, don't love you, and you seeing your own children beat up an adult who was defenseless. The woman looked pregnant to me. I've heard some reports that said that she may not have been pregnant because she was suffering with sickle cell, and so some reports are saying she may not have been pregnant, but whatever her case was, she was defenseless. And I wasn't able to talk that day. I'm still recovering from an issue with my vocals. So shout out to Big Brother Aziz. Big Brother Aziz went out there to the school and I was recovering. So I didn't go out there to the school when it happened because I hadn't seen the video at that time. But when I saw the video, of course I felt pain. See, if they would have jumped on my wife, she'd have whooped some ass. you ain't find the right one. If you jumped on my wife, she gave some uppercuts and elbows.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? and it'd have been some hurt children if they jumped on the
Yes,
right
sir.
woman. You know what I mean? But they saw that she was in a position where she couldn't defend herself, right? Is if you jumped on my wife, do you understand the repercussions of jumping on somebody who loved and cared about? So that woman had family that loved and cared about. She had friends. She had people who stood up for her. And rightly so, because a lot of times we have children who don't respect themselves, so they don't respect adults, and they think they're on the same level as adults. And that's a problem. We live in a society where they have taken away the right, not for adults to abuse children. No, we ain't talking about abuse, but to discipline them with truth, with some type of structure and regiment. See, there's a difference between taking out your hurt and pain and frustration on a child. I've been abused in a certain kind of way. I felt an extension cord on my backside as a child. And my sister's father told my mother that you should never beat your children with extension cords. You know what I'm saying? My mother stopped doing that because she was beat by her mother with an extension cord. And my grandmother and my grandfather had extension cord beatings, or switches, as they call it. They had a switch. So when you learn the ways of the slave master and the enslaver, you continue those ways until someone comes to you with a better teaching, a better way. How will they know unless they have a teacher?
Yes, sir.
How will they have a teacher unless he be sent? I didn't come, I was sent. As didn't come, we were sent. And a lot of times people don't recognize. Sometimes, Junior, he has, sometimes people come to the struggle either by inspiration or by desperation. There's a lot of desperation right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
There's a lot of desperation right now. People being threatened with the elimination or the freezing of SNAP and EBT and not eating. That caused a lot of crises around the country. Desperation. You know, we were told that those winds was going to hit us.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Serpents was going to bite us. Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad was telling our grandparents that we need to do for self or suffer the consequences. We kept on, we kept on doing what we was doing. I'll never forget my mother, may the Almighty be pleased with her. She used to tell me, she said to me before she passed away, she said the old man was right. She kept saying that.
Beautiful, yes, sir. And thank you to everybody who's watching. Queen Malika from the Bay holding it down. The Queen of the Bay never told us. Salam, Rough Rider, people putting nothing but fire emojis and sending love. May we have the name of your mother, sir?
My mother, she was born Bobby Jean Simmons. And when she married my biological father, she became Bobby Jean Ward. And then my sister's father was Robert Ishmael Simmons. So she became Bobby Simmons again, Bobby Jean Simmons.
Okay. And
so my sister's father was born in Montgomery, Alabama, and he used to be his babysitter. One of his babysitters was Rosa Parks. And so he's the one who put Message to the Black Man in my hand. And I'll forever be thankful for both of them, because 30 years, I worked for the summer at a project, one of the projects that Chicago is known for. People know about Cabrini Green Project and Robert Taylor Project and Harold Ickes and Altgeld Garden. Well, there's a project on the west side called Rockwell Gardens.
Yes, sir.
And Rockwell Projects, that was my summer job. And some people say, what the hell was wrong with you working at Rockwell Garden? as a summer job. That's the most horrible summer job ever. But that's part of the mission. So it was a blessing to be able to get a paycheck doing it, because I'm there with my people. So I had what they call the graveyard shift, 12 midnight to 8 in the morning. I'm with the traveling vice lords on one side, the GDs on the other side. They at war with each other, so it's bullets flying past my head, hitting the door because they shooting at, trying to make peace and all that. But we was, securing Rockwell Gardens, and young guys outside chasing rats big as puppies, you know what I'm saying? With baseball bats, 3, 4 in the morning, they doing that, right? But my mother and father, they would be like, at first they were a little bit concerned, but they said, but I know you doing what you're doing to help our people. And they were always supportive. They were very happy.
Beautiful. Yes, sir. And may Allah bless your parents and the womb of your mother for help reproduce another revolutionary to help us in this time that we are living in. So all praises due to Allah. And thank you to everybody who is watching and continue to show love. Brother Enoch, inshallah, this is like part 4 with you, but we will continue this ongoing series. And we look forward to hearing, do you have anything upcoming that we can support you with?
Well, yes, sir. For all those who are watching this, and again, please share this with 25, I said 40 people earlier. Share it with 40 people, because organize ourselves according to those 9 ministries that was ushered in 2005 at the Millions More movement. We are not able to do this work by ourselves. We are seeing that over these next 36 months, we got 3 more years, right? We might felt like this has been a whole year of this presidency, but this has only been about 10 months. It ain't even a full year yet. So we ain't seen nothing yet. We're seeing someone that is utilizing every aspect of litigation in the judicial system to make it where he can use an executive order that he know won't stick, but he knows it takes 3, 4, 5 months. He can tie it up in litigation so that since an executive order will put whatever he want into effect, that means he got time to shock your ass. And that's what's happening. They call it the Chicago Blitz, but it's in a warfare terminology. This is called shock testing, where they're able to push the limits of the American public to drive them into behaviors that will either push them over the edge or push them into doing things that can justify other activities. You get upset about this and want to riot, he can activate other things that he already got in mind to do. But he's pushing buttons to see what button will allow for him to do other things. Well, we have to realize that the things that we have not wanted to do because we consider ourselves so American. We consider ourselves so American that we're forgetting that if you are a quote unquote real American, let's test your Americanism. Patrick Henry, the one that they tell us in history class that said, give me liberty or give me death.
Yes, sir.
They only give you that quote because they don't want you to understand, as my brother Joshua asked earlier, the how, the process. Because if you ever activate the how, then that means that you can duplicate what's necessary to make a change in your present reality. The whole quote of Patrick Henry was, is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? I care not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. So what he was saying was in context of the principle of taxation without representation.
Yes, sir.
If you're going to tax me, but I'm not represented, then that means I got the right to withhold my taxes. Or I got the right to demand that you use money that's coming from my tax dollar to use it for my interests, my virtues, my rights, my needs. But see, if you don't have a healthy self-interest and all you want to do is party and kick it, if all you want to do is be on that crap that make it where you're just a consumer, then that means you're not asking or demanding the right thing. So when you consider today food insecurity was made manifest to those who weren't thinking about it, then that means that we have to begin looking. It's cool to have a garden in your backyard, but I ain't gonna feed 300,000 people in your area. And if you're the only one eating, sooner or later, gonna take what you got because you're the only one eating. So we just can't think for self. We gotta think for the whole to see how we can survive, not just you. So where are all the food growers in your area? Where are all the Black-owned farms or the Amish farms or all those that we need to have a pipeline to so that we can eat to live? Yeah. That takes organization. That don't mean everybody got to be on that post, but somebody got to be on that post. And we don't need somebody that's dealing with you reading the Bible and you're teaching Bible class. We're not trying to take you away from Bible class and put you on the post of agribusiness and agribusiness economics. That may not be your function or your job. That's why you got 9 ministries that are accessible for us to do shared collective work together, so then we can come together and see how we can interrelate with each other so that we can work in harmony, because every service is connected to the other service. So if you got the 10,000 fearless, that's the warfare or the defenders of the food supply. That's connected with the educators who can teach people all the different aspects of not only agribusiness and economics, but the other things that connect with that. But then you get those who are in information technology that's able to use technology for not just the food supply, but to help out with the warfare aspect of it, and so forth and so on. You get all these different ministries that are connected to help the body of people to survive what's going on. We are at a time where we have to get beyond our petty differences and all the emotionalism that stops us from using the power of emotion the right way. Energy and motion that's channeled in a logical, reasonable way makes sense. But when it's toxic and poisonous, that means that you just got a whole bunch of energy all over the place that's producing more chaos, and there's no order to it. There's no divinity in it. Love in God is not emotion in God. God has emotion, but it's not ruled by emotion. God is the master of mathematical reasoning. So what I would ask people to do is, please take this hotline number down, because we will be working throughout the Chicagoland area and outside of Chicago to help us in our unique way of offering holistic human development. We don't offer dogmatic religiosity. We offer spiritually scientific principles that's put into the realm of social emotional learning, restorative practices, trauma-informed care, and we utilize it for the conflict resolution, the cultural arts, the entrepreneurship, the financial literacy, the health and nutrition, the fitness. We utilize it in all those areas, in those formats of in-school, after-school programming, parent training, professional developments, train the trainers. And our goal is to help people to gain access to the pedagogy and curriculum of Hip Hop Detoxx, so then the People's Podcast can have their own Hip Hop Detoxx chapter. To have their own Hip Hop Detoxx. We want the churches, the agencies to have their own Hip Hop Detoxx, similar to how the Boy Scout troops are set up, similar to how a McDonald's restaurant, you can have your own license. Because the reality is that we have to remove the poison everywhere it is. And so since the poison is everywhere on the planet, we have to remove the poison everywhere, which means there's a role for Hip Hop Detoxx everywhere. And the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad's top student, the Honorable Brother Minister Louis Farrakhan, told you all since 2017, let's keep Hip Hop Detoxx going all over the country. He put that out there for you all to help. So please don't let his words fall on deaf ears. The number is 773-564-4315. That's 773-563-4315. Text that number and put your name, your email, and detox, capital DETOXX. And once you do that, we'll be able to submit information to you, and likewise, so that way, if you want to go further in doing, whether it's in a particular arena, school, college, university, we would like to be able to offer our services to be able to maximize our collective gifts, skills, talents, and abilities so that we can make transformational change. If you want to work by email, because that's something that you want to do directly, my direct email address is Brother Enoch, spelled out BROTHERENOCH at hiphopdetoxx.org. And detox is with two X's, HIPDETOXX.org. You can email us. We have a lot on Facebook. We have some things on TikTok. So you'll be able to communicate with us by social media as well. So you can be informed about not only what we're doing, but we have a lot of partners that we work with, because again, to have a holistic human development impact, social emotional learning is what is put under the educational realm as a mental mandate, not only in Chicago, but in Baltimore, in New Orleans. A lot of these school districts utilize that evidence-based approach. And so we've been doing that since 2006 under Hip Hop Detox. But more importantly, because holistic human development is taking the science of self-improvement and again, looking at the spiritual scientific principles and using models like Dr. Carl Bell's 7 principles for engaging at-risk youth and building resiliency among young people. We are looking at how to use principles that can be put into formats that allow for us to impact our people holistically. So that way you don't alienate yourself. If you're coming from a church perspective or a mosque perspective, you don't alienate yourself from your people, and you don't keep yourself out of certain arenas, because when you deal with educational institutions or governmental institutions, there is such a thing as a separation between church and state. So as a public health organization, we're not speaking from a dogmatic perspective. We're speaking from a perspective that allows for us to navigate those realms, but to get to the hearts and minds of our people so that they can be elevated from where they are. And they begin that the Million Man March pledge was dedicated for. And for those who don't understand, when you come to the mosque, that's the same pledge that was given to you when you came to the mosque, to improve yourself mentally, spiritually, morally, economically, and physically for the benefit of yourself, your family, and your people, to build factories and farmlands and all those different things. This is part of the mission and the work for our people, because our nation is not just a mosque. Our nation is churches. Our nation is the lodges. Our nation is the entertainers. Our nation is the street cliques. Our nation is the dancers, the hip hop artists. Our nation is those who do reggae, those who do jazz, blues. That's our nation.
Yes, sir.
If you watch the movie Sinners, if you've never seen the movie Sinners with
Yes,
Ryan Coogler, watch that movie, because that movie is giving you an indicator of what we're supposed to be doing, people. We are given a sign, and the only sign that would be given to a wicked and adulterous group of people would be the sign of Jonah, because you're dealing with sinners, a sin-sick nation. So we're given the sign of Jonah so that we can rise up, pray to the Almighty God, and then go to the king of Nineveh so that we can get grace and we get mercy. So
yes, sir.
I'll close by saying to you all that October 16th this year was the launching. It wasn't just an event. It was the launching of us working 12 months with these 1,000 young people and the men who came with these young people, and going back to their schools, so that for a full year, we continue to offer services and we impact these young people. So this wasn't a one-time event. So we need your support financially, because we're taking care of debts, from October 16th, because we weren't able to do it by ourselves. So we had to keep going. So we're raising funds so that we can take care of the remaining debt. But then we're moving forward because we know we're going to need hundreds of thousands of dollars to keep things going, because we had men from the Chicago chapter of the Tuskegee Airmen that was teaching how to fly drones, how to become certified, and if you're 16 and older, you can go through a certification process and become a certified pilot to fly drones. So we are looking to get funding and collect donations and find different ways to keep that going, so that those who are 16 and older, of that 1,000 young people, we can make sure that that happens. We had people, shout out to Brother Barney Muhammad of the Elite 50 Squad here in Chicago, Brother Antonio Muhammad. They came and did trade pathways, where they were teaching the young people about how they can get into plumbing and welding and HVAC. And we had brothers dealing with the STEM-related blockchain technology and AI and STEM-related activities, so they would understand how they can get into those industries, as well as those who may want to go to college, what they could do on that level. So we had all these different things going on. Brother Quinn Cedric, shout out to Brother Quinn Cedric. He was leading the exercise of power, the military drill, showing the young brothers the value of that and putting them through that, along with brothers like Brother Mark Quinn, Brother Dante, Brother Reggie, and all those brothers who were doing the boxing. We had the boxing, the martial arts. We had my brother Yasir Rahotep and the Kemetic yoga instructors giving them yoga. And of course, as you mentioned, our brother Lemuel, Professor Lemuel, he was giving them instruction in martial arts. So we had all these different things going on, but that was to give them a sample. So that when we come back to their, we're looking to go forward. So between now and June, our goal is to rise up. At October 16th, we did the right. Now we have to follow up and follow through, because the goal is to heal the crises of our youth. And in healing the crises of our youth, we really do need your support, because we're not supported by Chicago city government. We're not supported by the government of the United States. And there are many people who know the good work that we're doing by Allah's grace and mercy, but they're not helping. So we ask for the support of the people, because we know that the people, you can look and see our sincerity and see that we didn't just start doing this. We've been doing this for many years. And for those who know me personally, you know that I started off at the age of 19 as a member of the mighty task force in Chicago back in the 90s. And we were doing this work as teenagers and young adults. So we've been doing this work by Allah's grace for many decades. And so our goal is to be able to get people not only involved on the level of giving, but to get involved, get trained, become part of our membership and our donorship. So that way you can stay with. And if you're from different cities, let us come to your city. Let us set up the education and training online for you, so that we can, and then we'll make the time and effort to make things happen where you are. So again, the number is 773-563-4315. That is the hotline number. The email is brotherenoch@hiphopdetox.org. And again, we can't just talk about it. We got to be about it, because at that time, and we are the ones to do it. So since we know that time dictates the agenda, recognize the time that we in. Don't doubt it. Recognize the time that we in, and let's get activated and let's do it, y'all.
All praises due to Allah. This has been phenomenal. Alaikum salam, Sister Auntie. Black, back-to-back, wonderful, educating broadcast. Thank you, Sister Auntie, for always showing love. William Strong, ASA Brother Enoch is illuminating fire, tangible teachings from the source. All praises to Allah. On that positive note, we salute you again, Brother Enoch. Salute your family, honor your family, respect your whole organization. Out to Hip Hop Detox. This is Joshua Leonard Muhammad signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, sir. Assalamu alaikum, family.